Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another trailer breakdown with your friends at Disney Infinity TV. It's been a long time since we've done one of these. I mean, months and months and months. I can't even remember the last time we did this. But we finally got the news today. Today is March 5th, 2015, the news we've all been waiting for, and that was the announcement of Disney Infinity 3.0. And that means we get to break down another trailer. We're excited about that. So I am one of your three talking heads tonight, Will Kelly, and joining me is Jason Haynes. Jason, how are you doing tonight?
G'day, looking forward to it.
Great, great. Glad to have you back for another trailer breakdown. And joining us again, Lloyd Hannison from BG Podcast. What's up, buddy?
It's going pretty good. I can't believe it's been so long since a trailer breakdown. I've been itching to do one of these, so it's gonna be do this again. And we have like multiple trailers to look forward to over the next few months, so this is gonna be fun stuff.
Yeah, it really is. I'm trying to think. I think you did one of the trailer breakdowns with us last year, towards the end of the year, I believe.
I think we did a couple, maybe two or three, because they were releasing character trailers for a while there.
Yeah,
it was like the I don't know, the Stitch one, and there was a couple other ones. So yeah, we did those. They're a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I think it's going to be a good show ahead of everyone tonight. So with that, we have a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and just get things started. First thing we are going to do is that the first news of the day actually came from Game Informer. Disney Infinity 3.0 is the cover page story for Game Informer for the month of June, and they came out of the gate swinging, releasing a very brief description of what they're going to be discussing this month in the magazine, but also a video, a short little kind of mini doc. So I'm going to go ahead and play that now, and then we are going to discuss what we saw in the trailer. So without further ado, here you go. We're going to play this uninterrupted, then come back and talk about it with everyone. So let's go and get things started.
Be quality family entertainment. Like, I want there to be really good stuff for me and my kids to play together. And this was really kind of like, man, we work at Disney. We need to be able to figure this out.
I feel like we found our way as Disney Interactive with Infinity.
Right after Disney acquired us, they acquired Pixar, and we were like, yeah. When they bought Marvel, we did the same thing. And then when they bought Star Wars, we were like, yes.
We totally know what we're going to do for 3.
It's pretty exciting. Star Wars, you know.
Working at Disney, they pretty much bought my childhood. So everything that I've ever dreamed of animating, they've bought it.
We talked with the guys at Ninja Theory. They're like, a chance to work on Star Wars? Where do we sign? We talked about a playset that was set during the Clone Wars era. And then we decided that we wanted to do something that was set during the episodes 4, 5, and 6 time frame. And so we thought that, by starting there, that we were going to deliver the ultimate full Star Wars experience.
We're pulling everything we can to make it as true to the property, because there are fans out there that love Yoda, and they need it to be Yoda. He's awesome.
This time out, we're going to come out with a pretty strong Star Wars statement. But we are Infinity. We are all things Disney.
Disney fans, we got you. Marvel fans, we got you. I mean, our bench is deep, bro.
In the end, that's what it is. It's getting the Disney magic and having it come through a game.
Can't hear you, Will.
Muted myself. So there you go. That was the pretty much all minute and 40 seconds of that mini doc for the Game Informer. I don't know if they made it, but they're hosting on their channel. I'm actually gonna just pass the floor to you, Lloyd and Jason, because you guys had some very specific things you wanted to mention in this.
Well, first off, I just want to say that Disney's bench is deep, bro. If there's one thing from today, their bench is deep, bro.
And someone's never going to live down that wink. We will see that wink on social media till the end of time.
JV just made a meme of himself.
Yeah,
totally.
What I loved about that trailer was kind of the behind the scenes thing. Both the animation, they're using these big Cintiq tablets and they're drawing some of the character art and painting it right there. And then also showing some of the animation, like there was Jabba the Hutt being animated there. It looks like he's going to be a set piece or as a video piece. And it's you see some of the behind the scenes stuff and it's like, oh, I wish I worked there. I want to be that I want to be there when this stuff is happening, not just watching a small little 30-second chunk of video of what's going on in the studio. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll pass it over to Jason. I'll stop talking.
I think it's I think what this trailer does is make it clear, sort of, gives us a better picture of what we think the future of Disney Infinity is. It's clear from this video that they wanted to get the message across that they want Disney Infinity to be an all-encompassing Star Wars thing, because let's face it, we've got prequel content. When was the last time we saw any reference to prequel content in the, like, it's almost been the taboo subject. It's almost as if, you know, with all this, the Force Awakens coming out, that it's like they wanted to separate themselves from that. But here's Disney Infinity saying, no, we want to cover the whole breadth of Star Wars, including the Clone Wars, which is obviously the source of the leak was some confusion of like Clone Wars. Where's that come from? And I think that sends the message when you look at the other play sets that we'll get into later in the news section. It's sort of, they're painting away. It's almost as if the Marvel playset was complete catch up. The Star Wars release is going to be complete catch up. And so moving forward, Disney Infinity 4.0 will be free to be able to just release playsets for whatever the latest film releases are for those franchises. So you can very easily see there being a Rogue One playset for 4.0 combined with whatever the next Pixar film is, combined with whatever the biggest Marvel franchise is. And so I actually kind of like that they're not sweeping under the carpet. And I wouldn't be shocked because of that mentality if we don't get a Star Wars Rebels playset in 3.0. I'm not saying it's out of the question, but it would make sense to let Rebels build a bit more steam and then bring Rebels out in 4.0.
Yeah, I think Rebels is going to be there. Like it kind of has to. I mean, that's their new flagship thing that they're promoting up until obviously the movie, episode 7. The one thing that I loved about the trailer is basically the fact that it showed us all the figures. Normally we get, hey, we're coming out with 7,000 figures. Here's 3. You can look. But this one showed like a huge section of figures and kind of, I mean, not close-ups, but kind of like a sweep and pan, and they adjusted the focus so you could kind of see little bits of one and little bits of another. That looks really great. The other thing that really excites me is it looks like more of a game than it did in previous versions. Like it always was kind of gamey, but it definitely had a toy feel. It looks like some of the action that it looks more like almost like a standalone Star Wars game. Like some of the animation is really, really well done, which is great. I mean, that's what we've been asking for. Is we want what you're doing, and we want more, and we want it refined. Are we asking for too much? Probably, but that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, and we're definitely gonna expand a little bit on that in the news section, but it is a very, very important piece. Jason, I think the chat room agrees with you, with the exception of one thing. Instead of the first trilogy being taboo, it's actually Naboo subjects. So we need to fix that. So kudos to the chat room on that one. We're all gamers here. We're not only Disney Infinity gamers, but we're all gamers. One shot that I just loved and geeked out to was when they showed that the screen where they had all the concept art, and it was Princess Leia of all people, and it showed not only a picture of Carrie Fisher from the original movies, but also just concept art, and it even showed a picture of Team Fortress on there, and it's so. What's that?
I said, yeah, the little sniper guy.
Yeah,
which is kind of interesting. Which is funny because after seeing that, I'm like, yeah, the art style looks very much like Team Fortress. So yeah, that makes sense that they're using that as inspiration.
Yeah, who's to say that it wasn't Team Fortress didn't inspire Disney Infinity and not the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's that screen, and yeah, you guys. it's this was unique in that leading up to today's trailer release, we were unsure if it was going to kind of follow suit of last year and be a teaser. It was not. It was a full trailer, and we're going to get to that trailer in a moment. But we also got this mini vid doc, and like you guys said, unlike last year, we are getting a lot of information up front. And I mean, I enjoy getting surprised, but at the same time, I also really dig seeing the transparency here and seeing all the different figures, both Star Wars and not here.
And hopefully I mean, we're wrong, and it's only a tip of the iceberg. Maybe there's a ton of more content behind the scenes, but it just looks like they've given us so much because they have. But yeah, it's cool.
And with all the leaks that they've just had, this is probably the smart way so they can control the messaging, because they've had all sorts of stuff leaking out recently, so they can kind of throw it out and control it and hype it and not have to deal with sort of a PR fire that they have to put out. Well,
and isn't that great to speculate and hope on, is that maybe this means that we are going to be getting a lot more figures. And who really knows? I want to bring up this shot real quick because it is not only a shot of technically 3 of the new original characters, but we get a really good shot of Mulan right there. You can see Mickey over there in the corner on the right hand side, but then you also get I think that's one of the first shots we've seen of Yoda physical. We've seen him in a few different screenshots of the gameplay, but not actual figure form. So that's pretty cool also.
Awesome.
Cool. And yeah, Lloyd, I agree with you. It's always nice to get a peek behind the curtain and see kind of the process of. It was really neat seeing the figure molds coming out of the. Let's see if I can bring that up here.
Yeah, they revealed that all I have to do is press a button and figures appear. That's the official Disney magic cauldron, and so now no excuses anymore. They just have to hit buttons, so it's all good.
What I find so interesting about this, and Lloyd, let me know if you have any insight on this, but there's 3 different characters from 3 different properties. So that is a Star Wars character, Marvel, and then what appears to be Tron. And so I find that interesting.
It is interesting. I love that that's how they can kind of prototype their figures. They do kind of like the epoxy 3D printing type stuff. That's a really great way to do it.
Here's a cool shot of what's presumably that prototype Hulkbuster from the back. And I kind of like sometimes when you don't get the color, when you just get these raw molds, because you can see a lot of detail just in the shape and characteristics of the figure outside of color. All right, gentlemen, anything else on this before we move on?
Yeah, let's get on with the main show.
It was more than I thought we would get today, and we got more than just that today. So this is a very good day.
Yeah, it's great. So to break down the pieces, we got the trailer, which we're about to break down, and then a really in-depth Game Informer article, which was actually probably the most telling piece of info because it breaks down a lot of stuff. And again, we'll go over that in the news section in just a moment. So with that, let's go ahead and bring up the. So I had a conversation. Chat room's going to get a kick out of this. Osaka, how do you say it? Because she has become my new Maleficent. So I'm gonna butcher that all day. So I'm just gonna let the two of you say that name. So
I'm not saying it properly. I don't want to give you any help. Will you can continue to butcher it for the rest of the.
Well, yours is just it's in a Canadian accent, so you even have that going for you. All right. So what we're gonna do first is we're just gonna play it outright, and the trailer's a minute and 14 seconds. You'll see our heads here. And then we're going to play it back again frame by frame and just go over all the details. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with the Disney Infinity 3.0 edition official announcement trailer.
like we have visitors. Let's hope they come in peace.
Other content and characters sold separately.
How about a hug? I like you.
That's the best.
That is the best. Oh, again, they didn't shy away from anything. So my first impression of this is that, again, very transparent. And one of the great things about these trailer breakdowns is finding those little like teases here and there. Well, I wonder how many of those we're actually going to get in this frame by frame, because they showed so much of it. What are you guys' first impressions?
It showed off all of the movies. It showed off key parts of all the movies, and I'm talking the original trilogy, not the prequel trilogy. That made me very happy that they're focusing on that, because that's what I grew up with, and that those are the Star Wars movies that I love. Not that I dislike the prequel stuff. Yeah, just it looks good. Like it doesn't look like a bunch of toys stuck in sand. It actually looks like full buildings. So I don't know if this is going to be another Aladdin's castle type thing from the start of the game, where it was like you saw such great assets there, and then you didn't really see a lot of those again in the game. I hope we get to play with a lot of this stuff in Toy Box and also in the play sets while we're playing through them.
It's a really good. The trailer actually has a good mixture of playset and toy box footage in it, which is really nice because it just blends so beautifully. So I mean, from that you can deduce that the toy box is going to have some really nice assets in it that, at least with the right camera angles, can look playset quality type stuff. So, but I think it's a good place to start. This is clearly a homage to the new Force Awakens trailer. This is Disney dropping the mic and going, yes, we own Star Wars, and we can recreate the latest Star Wars trailer in our engine. That's what I say.
Yeah, this would be Tatooine with the dual suns and the land speeder, and it just, now everybody can have a land speeder. If you bought all the figures and your game was bugged or whatever, now you can. Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. You can play with it as they show in the first couple frames of this trailer.
Yep. Yeah, but I do agree with you, Jason. This is definitely a homage to the Force Awakens trailer, even though it is Tatooine. Kind of first impression as well. I'm very curious about your guys' thought, because we discussed this a lot in our our 2.0 breakdowns. To me, the graphics all around and every in-game footage I've seen seems better. We do know it's going to be cross-generational as far as platforms go. So it's going to be on Wii U, 360, and PS3 again, as well as iOS and Android, all the new consoles as well. But it doesn't seem like the game is going to be as handicapped graphically from that standpoint. I don't know. That was just my thought.
Maybe. I don't really know. I mean, some of the shots you look at and go, looks like it could have been straight out of 2.0. But and I think that's mostly the toy box shots.
Yeah.
But I anticipate the play sets to be slightly higher in graphical fidelity.
Yeah. Cool. All right, gents. So here is kind of the next scene showing off a different environment with
probably Endor. Would I be right? That looks like a satellite. I saw a bit of a tree previously.
Yeah. That was my thought, and also wasn't Endor. That's when the rebuilt.
It looks to me like it's Alderaan, because there's the Death Star right there. So this is pre-blown up Alderaan. Oh. Maybe. And it has some of those communication towers like you saw in the movie.
It's cool though. Not only this scene, but also the next scene. It's showing off the variety in locales here, and that's something that is so exciting. You know, one of the huge criticisms for 2.0 was two of our three playsets basically was in the same location in New York City. Sounds like this is fixing that in a lot of ways, even though the playsets are so both Star Wars playsets they have a Tatooine. Both versions are different. So so here, this has got to be Hoth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is interesting because this is the first. This will be. It's publicized that this will be the first Disney Infinity playsets that are based on the actual story. It's not going to be a unique playset. It is a retelling of the Star Wars sagas, so to speak.
Now, is it a retelling or is it an
or
expansion?
at least an experience? Like it's at least experiencing the key moments of those. I'm not sure if it's actually telling the story, but we haven't had playsets like that before. And I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. It's just something interesting to take into account.
So this appears to be in-game footage. It looks gorgeous, and I really dig the environmental effects there with the snowdrifts, and the detail of the snow speeders themselves. But it's still, look at this screen right here. I mean, that's still, even though, back it up a moment, these look like star speeders or snow speeders from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
These look like toy snow speeders. They look like plastic, which is
I love it.
Awesome.
There's even down to it looks like they're supposed to be like, because I think this is what's on the guns as well, but they look like they're supposed to be almost like plastic plugs in the end of the thing, and all the characters seem to have those orange caps on the end of their guns,
right?
Which just love it. It's just a bravo. I'm not going to say it was my idea. Clearly they had that idea well before myself.
My only disappointment, being someone who's excited about Battlefront, I was really hoping for those old school practical looking effects, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers, I guess. All right, next scene up. So again, a new environment, new locale. So that's what, a Star Destroyer it looks like?
I'm going to go out on a limb. I think that could be in the toy box.
You do, huh?
I think that is a doors like the that were in 2.0 for the wave generator doors. You know how you could spawn, and I reckon you can spawn TIE fighters out of them. It just looks like the toy box to me.
All right, not gonna argue.
It's a guess. Just saying.
I like the idea. What do you guys think of the way the TIE fighters look?
They look great.
Again, toy-like, right? I mean, the features are kind of caricaturized.
Yeah, they're all exaggerated, but not crazy. Yeah, they look really good. The whole space battle thing really intrigues me. I wonder how big this is going to play in the toy boxes, in the story different missions. But are you going to be able to do this in the toy box then? Are you going to be able to jump into space and fly around? Makes me wonder at some of the changes that are coming to the toy box as well.
I guarantee this is toy box right here. I can't tell. I will be able to tell you there's a shot at 39 seconds where you definitely know it's a toy box because there's a character sticking out of the top of the X-Wing.
Okay. So 39 seconds, where are we at right now?
Those asteroids to me look straight out of the toy box.
Yeah.
And the background looks amazingly like a Skydome. Just because of the consistency of the star pattern.
Yeah, that's actually great, and you can see the planet surface is very stylized, which means it could be somewhat static.
And also, I do it like they have nailed the look. You look at that, and that X-wing is clearly part of the Disney Infinity universe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You look at it, and you're not thinking that X-wing looks weird. You just look, that is the Infinity version of an X-wing. That sort of beautiful, riding the line between super deformed and I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, and it totally looks like you can see the plastic sheen on it. It doesn't look scuffed up and dirty like in the movie. See the kind of shiny plastic little bits to it. It just looks super stylized.
So I guess that's kind of practical looking effects.
Yeah, and the little chunks of toys.
Yeah, I reckon you can see someone. It's either R2 or someone else. Hang on.
It looks like it's
see a character. No, that's a character in it. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
It looks to me, it looks kind of like Han Solo, based solely on. Oh no, it actually kind of looks like Anakin. Looks like he has brown hair. It's really hard to see.
Yeah, totally.
Through the canopy? Or?
Yeah, it looks like it's clipping.
That's what I mean. There's a shot where his head is clearly above the canopy at 39 seconds. So
well, we will see that again.
We will see.
I want to back it up a little bit. All right. Okay. Look at this. Presumably we're on Hoth again, although we do know that that's not the only snow planet in the Star Wars universe. So we discussed, I think, prior to starting this trailer breakdown, we talked a little bit about these AT-ATs. What do you guys think of at least their form and the shape and the way they look?
They look like AT-ATs. Awesome.
They look like if like an AT-AT's a dog, it looks like a puppy. Like it's kind of small and cuter than a normal AT-AT, right?
Right. Kind of squished, you know, not as long, and yeah, again, very Infinity-esque.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So we discussed the variety of environments. Let's talk about the variety of like gameplay that we've seen so far. I don't think we have, all we've seen up to this point is vehicular, either combat
Flying
or,
around, yeah.
or movement. But it's all been so different. So snow speeders the sand speeder is on the surface. Snow speeders are primarily like close to the surface. Then we had space battles with TIE fighters and X-Wings, and now the behemoth, the mother of them all, the Millennium Falcon, flying through asteroids here.
And it looks just like the toy.
It does.
I love this.
It makes me wonder if this is gameplay, but it's kind of like an on rails shooter flying part of the game or something, or if it's just a video. But yeah, that huge worm coming out and trying to chomp the Millennium Falcon looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, it does.
Look how plasticky it looks. That is awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool because you know there's no way that all of your characters could physically fit in that thing, just like your toy Millennium Falcon. But that's okay. That's the way it's meant to be. Like
even to the point, see how blacked out the windows are? Like they're just black, as if it's black plastic. It's
right.
like, no, you can't see in it. That's just, I love it.
You almost expect a figure to be riding atop it, kind of like the Milano in 2.0.
It's such a key ship, though. I mean, people have always said that the Millennium Falcon's almost a character in itself. So it wouldn't be surprised me if they make that a special vehicle outside of the normal Disney Infinity, tropes as far as how you normally ride those types of vehicles.
Even the space worm. Look, I mean, that doesn't look like skin. That looks like plastic.
It looks like well,
huge hinged mouth. And
yeah. You can even see the hinge right here.
The asteroid looks real, but the toys coming out of the asteroid look like toys. It's kind of a neat little look that they have going here.
Awesome. All right, so now we get some non-vehicle stuff. First up in the form of Darth Maul and Mr. Obi-Wan. So this is our first glimpse outside of the box art of the characters. And the cool thing is we get to see them in game, which provides a little motion, not only in the combat, but also in just their characters. So what do you guys think of not only these characters, but also this scene?
looks awesome. That was my favorite part of the prequels, was this fight scene. So to be able to play out some of that in this game makes me kind of happy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Jason?
definitely. And wasn't it? So was it mentioned in one of the articles that it was Ninja Theory or someone that was dedicated to like really improving the gameplay? So my gosh, if the lightsaber duels feel really good, that's going to be something special. Because let's face it, I mean, it's one thing to have a lightsaber in a game, but if it's just like mindless chopping, it's not going to be that fun to play. But if they've nailed a really good, I don't want to use the term because it's so overused, but if they nailed a really good like Batman style fighting mechanic that feels really good to play with, that's going to be super exciting.
Well, and reading that Game Informer article, that's exactly how it sounded to me. It sounded like the combat was going to be more akin to the Batman games, which is highly regarded as one of the best melee combat systems in all of video game design.
But again, what a move to just like, I can't believe they're featuring prequel characters out of the gate here. As you said, we've had vehicles, and it's like, hey, we're going to launch with Darth Maul and so on, which is obviously a popular character, but I just love the fact that they haven't shied away from it.
Yeah, even all the vehicles we've seen up to this point has been all the original trilogy. And so that takes some guts coming out of the gate. The first actual characters we see being the prequels.
Well, they could be the Clone Wars versions of these characters.
That's true.
So maybe they're not going to the.
That's true. That's true.
I think they are, but this looks like kind of the Clone Wars stuff. But this is a scene from the prequels, so even the characters are the Clone Wars versions, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a combination of both, as they kind of like to do. Aesthetically, though, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. The very, very Clone Wars. Next scene. All right, so here's kind of the first great reveal. You could argue that the Millennium Falcon was one, but here's our first shot of the man himself.
And as Lloyd said, clearly going to be the most controversial of the sculpts.
Yeah.
I can't. Was Vader? No, was Vader in Clone Wars? I have no idea. I can't remember. It's been so long.
I didn't watch the whole series, so I can't remember if he was in there.
But he's just a very interesting sculpt, very boxy head, hadn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was in Clone Wars. Now I remember he was definitely in Clone Wars. But this sculpt, he looks like he has a horse face. Like he has this huge, long. Or as people in the chat room said, he looks like a duck. So it's like Donald Duck as Darth Vader. It's a little bit odd.
I can't remember if we get a better shot of his face later in the trailer or not. So here's another iconic character, R2-D2. And so what does this mean? Does this mean he's gonna be a sidekick character? Could you guys see him being a physical character?
That's everything has to come. They've always said a character has to be based on gameplay. What gameplay can you do with a character? Yeah. Can you have proper gameplay with him? I'm not 100% sure. If you're going to do it, you'd maybe do R2 and C-3PO as on the same base, if you know what I mean, so that like they spawn in as the same character. I don't know.
Do you guys think this is a playset that we're looking at, or could it be a Sky Dome? And it looks like a playset to me.
Hard to say.
The only reason I ask is it's kind of covered up by our heads right now, but there's just kind of seems like there's a pretty abrupt cliff right here. That could be the edge of a terrain piece, but I'm still guessing that it's But so it's hard to get a sense of scale in this shot right here, but
yeah.
But the Falcon, you can see it's stubby, and it does just look smaller in general. And again, I think we're saying that as a positive here because it's continuing that.
Even the end, if you back it up just slightly, the end of the gun's just this clean cut plastic. No attempt to put an actual hole there like it would be if it was an actual laser. It's just flat plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I love it. I hope they really continue to, because I think if people get that, if people can get the fact that we're trying to be like really play on the toy side of things, people will be far more accepting of it rather than looking at it as, it looks too kiddie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Agreed. Oh, this is so awesome. To me, this seems straight out of the movies, the prequel movies.
That's right.
Yeah.
Angry Yoda jumping around like a little monkey character, which was amazing. And it looks like they did a good job.
Oh, yeah. That's sensational.
These B-1 battle bots, or battle droids, remember them because they pop up in the toy box section. But what do you guys think of Yoda? I think he looks, I like him personally, but I could see him being controversial because he's very cartoony.
I still hope that there's hope. I still hope that there will be costume discs that all of these characters can take on other forms. Like I'd love to see super old Yoda, to be honest. Yeah, nothing. Just because they're in their form at the moment, let's not write out the fact that we could have variant looks on these characters.
I mean, we obviously know it's something they've done in the past, and they aren't against. So bringing it back to combat. So assuming this is player gameplay, it's pretty detailed. So he hits one battle droid, jumps off one, hits another to come down and finally attack the last one.
Right.
That's pretty advanced. And there is going to be a combat juggling system, so I wonder if that's kind of similar to that. Jason, look at the battle droid gun here. It even has like plastic mold lines. It kind of looks like on the back of the gun there.
Super cool. And actually, I'm not a huge fan of those droid things, but again, they'd be great cannon fodder to put in a toy box.
Mm-hmm. So here we are. Is this Coruscant?
No idea.
I can't tell either. I'm sure the chat room can tell us. They could probably even tell us by
play setty to me though. Yeah.
Yeah, can't tell what character that's supposed to be. A purple dude. It could be just a
Looks stormtrooperish, I don't know.
Yeah.
Isn't that
it's clearly not.
It looks like the bounty hunter guy. I can't think of his name right now. Yeah. I'm terrible with names, and Star Wars is interesting names. So.
Yeah. So here's our first look at stormtroopers. My first thought when I saw this was, I hope that these aren't just enemies. I hope we get a stormtrooper character. And I don't know. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on that. But just seeing this one shot, I'm like, oh man, I want to play as a stormtrooper.
If we get a stormtrooper character, it'll be the dark one. What was it? The dark trooper from Force Awakens, I think. I think that is classic. The stance is almost identical to the ice soldiers in the Avengers set. Like that, this is 100% toy box.
Yeah.
And again, I love that the orange cap on the end of the gun.
Yeah, totally.
That is brilliant.
Anything to add, Lloyd?
No, it looks. I want to play a stormtrooper as well. I hope there's a villains pack that has a stormtrooper in it, and it's just generic stormtrooper guy, and you get to play with them, because that's a lot of fun. It just looks great.
So I got a throwback to my wife. She would get a kick out of this. My only other comment is that it looks like they skipped leg day. They've got some skinny chicken legs.
Definitely.
But
right, they're grown in a vat for a little bit, and then they're in school and all that stuff. So maybe they don't run around a lot on the stormy planet that they grew up on.
Exactly. And it's all right. Here we go. The man himself. Scruffy Nerf Herder, Han Solo, kicking
Clearly
some.
has punch mechanics, has a punch special move.
Yeah, looks like he charges it up. He's got to have a special move where it's something like I shot first or something.
I think that's in his next scene where he kind of shoots before even fully pointing the gun.
Oh
yeah, it's kind of like just pull it out real quick and take a shot.
Yeah, almost like he's not even looking at his target.
I love the look of Han, though. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it reminds me of those mock-ups that came out actually in the 1.0 days.
Yeah.
The likeness maybe in the face isn't quite as much as Mr. Ford himself, but that's all right. Yeah, I think he's cool. Jason, do you like the way he looks?
Definitely. How long before someone makes an indie custom of that figure? 24 hours?
They've already mocked it up in Photoshop.
That's it.
So again, you know what? They just keep going through the franchise and just not pulling any punches and showing just a ton of content, which is amazing. So here's that scene you were talking about, Jason.
Yeah, that's the one. See, clearly sticking out of the top of the thing. So this is definitely toy box shot.
Well, so
well, that's why. You gotta guess what else, unless they put a complete bug and the character has completely clipped out of the vehicle and they went, forget it, not enough time.
So
just leave it in there.
So I think that this is, I'm not saying it's not part of the toy box in addition. Unfortunately, Canada nor Australia has gotten the Game Informer article yet, so you haven't been able to read that. But they explicitly said that there is a playset scene which is a on-rail shooter akin to Star Fox, actually, that is the trench run, and I think that's actually what we're looking at right here.
Interesting.
Jason, I like the not kickstand, but the little skid in the front.
Well, yeah, because it's interesting that, I mean, I don't know, but I thought the X-Wing arms had to be open in order to fire. Maybe that's just poor Star Wars knowledge on my behalf.
Well, yeah, I don't know. So you hear they're open and then they close here. So I don't know.
Oh yeah,
and that is.
But I think that's toy box. So why would he be sticking out of the top?
Well, we're going to see the trench run in a second again, I think. So maybe that can give us some insight. Just Star Destroyers in the background. So here we have Han Solo. What are these called?
Tauntauns.
Tauntauns. Thank you. Looks like Hoth again, right? Looking at the background.
I think this is Toy Box too, though, because doesn't that eye structure look like it's out of the Marvel playset? In the back right-hand side
Right
there?
here. Yeah, it looks like it could be. And then this could be a themed...
yeah, and if it is, it's cool, because that means we can look at those epic Star Wars guns turrets we're going to be able to place down in the toy box.
There's a shield generator as well.
I'll guarantee that shield generator can be destroyed.
Yeah. And if it is toy box, that's some interesting new terrain pieces that it looks like we can add on there.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that's toy box.
Looks like it.
So you got some snow spears in the background. All right, so here's another iconic character. This is the best rendition of Princess Leia I've ever seen, in my personal opinion. I like her. Yeah, never mind. And there you get to see some Facebook message by Mighty Gidas. So what do you think of Princess Leia shooting this Imperial officer?
Awesome.
And she looks good. She looks her sculpt is way different than I thought it would be.
Really?
Not in a bad way. It's just when I was envisioning what it would look like, it to me in my head it was a little bit different. But I like it. I dig the look. It looks really good.
There's another presumably CPU enemy that we can add to the toy box. So here we get more battle droids and Yoda kicking butt.
Well, there's 4 people in this shot, isn't there?
Oh yeah, let's take a look at that. So we see Yoda there.
I believe it's Anakin. Yeah, Anakin and Luke, Yoda, and Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. And it's not Luke, it's Anakin Ahsoka. How do you say it?
Ahsoka.
I don't know why it's so difficult. And Obi-Wan there.
It's Maleficent? Oh no, Ahsoka, that's what it is.
Yeah,
but interestingly, if this is not toy box, this is a win-win. If this is toy box, that looks super cool.
Yeah.
And you can use force powers in the toy box. If it's not the toy box, we get potentially 4-player co-op in playsets.
Which means that it would have to be online co-op because, well, I guess in theory with the next version you could plug in 2 base stations and maybe do 4 players split screen. But I do kind of see that as being
so it's totally a win-win, isn't it? Really?
Yep, absolutely.
Regardless of which way it falls.
All right, so here we get a profile of. So actually, let's back up a second. So if you look at their stance, I wonder if this could be kind of like a 4-person player-initiated team-up power.
Interesting. I don't know.
It's all kind of doing the force push at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like I'll hit Y together, and it does this special move. It's kind of cool.
All right, so here we get a profile of Darth Vader, and then our first shot of Luke, who looks really kind of goofy here.
Yeah, the animation, it's like he moves way too fast for his, like he kind of slides on his foot.
Yeah.
Just kind of slid into frame and then attacks. That was the one thing I watched a bunch of times going back and forth. I'm like, yeah.
Well, that could be a good sign then, because that's what Batman does in the Batman fight mechanic. He just slides all over the place. So that's possibly a good sign more than anything.
Yeah.
Vader does look huge, though.
Yeah, he does.
He still has this. You can see part of his duck face.
Yeah, you can. I mean, he's definitely menacing as far as a stature. When you look at this shot, when you compare the two, even though Vader's more in the foreground. That's a cool environment too. Very, very akin to the movies. Cool lightsaber effect right there, where it looks like they're locked.
Mm-hmm. A lot of sparks.
JJ lens flare.
JJ lens flare. All right, so here is the trench run, and you're right, Jason. It looks like this is a separate scene because the X-wing, but then the X-wings in front are collapsed. So who knows? So So
But
this
there's
is
definitely not a character sticking out the top of it.
well, it's kind of hard to see because it slopes down, and all we're seeing is the droid sitting on back. But you very well could be right. I don't know. But in that Game Informer article, they did say that this would be a playset scene that is an on-rail shooter. In fact,
Well, that sounds awesome. That sounds like that just says variety to me, which I like that. You know, that style of a game. If you can switch up the game mechanics throughout the experience, that's kind of cool.
totally. And this is much more robust than Studio Gobo's last outing of Guardians, which did have some different gameplay, which was interesting. It did have some ship gameplay and turret gameplay, but this is even more of a departure from standard gameplay, having a rail shooter like this.
Mm-hmm.
So here we get a exterior of the Millennium Falcon again. Really cool sweeping shot. And that's it. And then we get the title screen, which has the 3.0 branding. Very similar to what we're used to, with the gold 3.0 edition on the end.
It's all pre-rendered animation after this point, but there's still some potential clues in this stuff here. Like, for instance, you've got all those different ships in the background there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, this is all pre-rendered, but I found it interesting that they've put on the left-hand side, a little bit further on, you see one of the fish blimps from Big Hero 6.
Well, and this is without a doubt the setting. Again, you're right, it's pre-rendered, so who knows if we can recreate this, but this is the Toy Box terrain and Toy Box...
recognize the trees from the Toy Box.
And so I'm assuming what's above this is a Sky Dome, a Star Wars Sky Dome. So,
and if it is the case, then they're, again, portraying the Millennium Falcon as not a normal vehicle here. But again, that could all just be for the pomp and circumstance of the animation. But then it wouldn't make sense because, well, again, you've got townspeople in this shot.
Yeah, and you have the castle in the background here, below the Sky Dome. Our first kind of in-game shots of Minnie and Mickey, so that's really cool. Characterized. Hey, I can't remember if were all these townspeople in the first one?
I think so. That's interesting that they're actually having townspeople in the shots, where previous trailers, I don't think you ever saw townspeople, at least not very often. And they're kind of making them, I don't know, kind of stick out here for some reason.
And Brandon on Game Trailer seems to think that maybe that's a clue to what's coming. That could be an in sort of hint to say throw you off the track because they're townspeople, but maybe that is. It does seem strange. Why would you feature the townspeople in the shot?
So again, in that Game Informer article, you can now add paths to townspeople, so that this might be indicative of them being even more interactive than they currently are.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. So here is so assuming, even though this is pre-rendered, this is giving us an idea of the Millennium Falcon. It's cool that it looks like the ship itself is interactive.
Big.
It is big. And you know what? There's always a possibility of having kind of like a set piece.
I was just going to say a set piece with a retractable thing like that would be kind of cool.
Which wouldn't necessarily mean you couldn't also fly the miniature version.
Sure.
So this is really funny. This is bringing back the Disney Infinity comedy.
It's also the first time that like you sort of get the sense of like, because up to this point it's all been Star Wars, but this is the moment where you realize the absurdity of how this game can even exist.
Right.
Like there's no Marvel characters in that shot, but that's reality of what we've got here. Is that we can mix Marvel, Disney, and now Star Wars in a single game. That's ludicrous.
Yep. Yeah, and it's really, I think it's really good that because it was so playset focused up to this point, really bringing it back around to the toy box, just as a kind of like, hey, don't forget, and we're not forgetting about all these other amazing characters that you have and you love, and the toy box, it's still very much in here.
And what about those aliens from Toy Story? They're not represented currently, are they? They might have townspeople, but they don't look like townspeople there.
Yeah, I mean, who knows if it's assets from the Toy Story playset where they were
Good
a lot
point.
more detailed.
Good point. Yes, you're right. You're very right. Interesting.
Yeah. Hopeful though. That would be cool. I'd love to have those guys in the game. And then here we go. So, you know what? We've seen it leaked. We've seen it before. But this is the box art with the two characters, the code card, and then the playset piece there, which is interlocking lightsabers. And what I believe is the symbol. Chat room will correct me if I'm wrong. But I actually heard it from our community on Facebook that I think it's a symbol from the Clone Wars of whatever the rebels are in that series. Republic, maybe, not the rebels. I don't know.
It looks like the only character on the box art that people have already dissected that we didn't see in this trailer is C-3PO. We saw R2, the rest of everybody, I think, but C-3PO is kind of sitting in the background. We didn't see him as a figure yet. So is he coming? I don't know.
And there's a Naboo ship up in the top left-hand corner also, which I don't think we saw in the trailer. One of the classic shiny gold CGI fest ships from the prequels.
And pod racers.
Oh, pod racers.
Yes.
Right.
So both Naboo and pod racing are going to be a part of the game.
I'm fine with that.
Which is pretty cool. There is, in the news section, we're going to go over some screenshots, and there is a screenshot. It looks like a toy box screenshot of R2D2 and C-3PO. So that's more. So Jason, here's your Lloyd, here's your Duck Vader.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Duck Vader.
It looks like a Vader I've seen before. Was it like a robot chicken Vader? It seems like I remember seeing a very kind of weird looking Vader.
Was it Mr. Potato Head Vader? That looks very...
Yeah, maybe that's it, honestly.
Darth Tater looks very much like this sculpt.
Darth Tater looks like Darth Vader.
And also it's worth mentioning that finally the mystery of why there's only 2 figures is there is because they dropped the price of the game. So that's the other thing that was confusing, and I guess we'll get into more of that into the news section. But
yeah.
That's yeah. So I think overall, great trailer. I think it's hyped me for the game even more than I was already hyped. So very excited to get my hands on the play sets.
Yeah, the end title here shows Disney, Star Wars, and Marvel. So again, reinforcing their commitment there. Also, the many different platforms. Yeah, I was hyped before this. Now I'm uncontrollable, like schoolboy hype and excitement. What about you, Lloyd? Did this really hit the buttons for you?
Yeah, I've been really excited about a lot of games coming out recently, and it's just so many great trailers and other things. And then I saw this, and it's like, this is all the things that I love, and it's all together in one thing. I'm so happy. And then some of the images that came out after with like showing the Marvel figures and the other Disney figures, it's great. I'm super excited.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I think that's it for the trailer breakdown, gentlemen. All in all, we give it an A+ thumbs up. Got to see a lot of different pieces of the playsets, at least 2 of them, and 2 of the Star Wars playsets, and it looks like we got to see a variety of gameplay and a lot of the figures. So I think it's interesting compared to last year's teaser and then initial trailer. We did get to see a lot more, and it's happiness.
Yeah, we did miss the Olaf at the end, but yes, the Olaf, obviously we saw the thing.
Yes,
and again, great to obviously further confirmation, because we haven't seen the actual sculpt of that figure outside of the leak, have we?
No, we haven't. Sorry. Thank you for bringing this up, Jason. Yeah, we haven't seen this outside of that really bad picture. And so this is presumably what the character is going to look like, and the character itself has been confirmed in a press release by Disney Infinity. So, and
did the article confirm? I can't remember if you told me. So, can we use AT-ATs in the toy box? Because again, this is clearly representing the toy box based on the trees in the background. Classic 2.0 forest trees.
I'm gonna say yeah. The press release didn't mention it, but I mean, it would be pretty bad if they showed shot, and then they didn't include AT-ATs in the toy box.
I'll forgive them, but yeah, I want those in the toy box.
Me too.
Even if it is just a set piece. But that'd be cool if we got moving set pieces. Imagine if you set a set piece down, it can just set a walking direction, and it'll slowly walk. That'd be sweet.
Till it walks off the edge. So yeah, so thanks for bringing that back up, Jason. So yeah, we got more comedy, and we got Olaf in there in our first kind of. Even though this is pre-rendered, I would assume that this is what the animation, not him hugging. I doubt that's going to be a special move of his, but the hopping.
That would be an amazing special move. that would people to death. Oh, I love it.
But kind of how he runs here and how his body separates. Yeah. And then the finish him. You get the huggo death.
Friendship.
Yeah, friendship. Was that friendshipality or something?
I can't remember.
Sweet. All right, gentlemen. I think that's gonna wrap it up. Any last words about the trailer?
No, super excited. Let's get it out now.
It just looks, it's so good. It's everything that I love from Star Wars. Epic battles, lightsabers, Millennium Falcon, all my favorite characters from when I was growing up. It's going to be good.
Yep, going to be awesome. So this is one of many gameplay trailers we are going to break down. Again, we break down all the trailers, even teasers. If we get something small here and there, we like to break them down. So this is like opening season right now. This is opening day of the season, and pretty excited to have some new stuff to talk about. That's going to wrap up the trailer breakdown. Both of these videos will be linked in the not only the show notes for the podcast, but also in the YouTube video for this. Stay tuned, though, because we are going to have an Inside Infinity podcast where we break down all the news of the week and also a roundtable. So look for episode 87 of that. And with that, gentlemen, I think we are going to call it a day. You can find us on youtube.com/Disney Infinity TV or DisneyInfinity.tv. Want to thank you both for breaking this trailer down with me. By the end of it, I'm sure I'm going to learn how to say Ahsoka. Ahsoka. Yeah, I got that time.
Yeah.
So that can be your new game. All right, gentlemen. Well, thanks, and we will see everyone out there real soon.